would rather my child couldn't read but was healthy than was a great reader but weighed 20 stone. Do you know what I mean? That should be part of the curriculum. In the same way that if a child can't read or a child can't do basic addition, if a child cannot jog for a couple of minutes or cannot do 10 press-ups, they should be put in intervention to allow them to do that.
It's provocative, that statement from Matt Morsia. It really is, but I totally agree. I would not want Harlow to be 20 stone with A stars. I'd rather she got all Bs and she was healthy. I would 100% take that every day of the week.
Welcome to Fit Dad's Hot Take. This is a brand new format. Admittedly, Ryan, we came across this on... This is Ryan Dutton, by the way. We came across this in a different podcast and I absolutely loved it. I'm Brad Thompson, and a bit of a different, short, snappy, could be a midweek episode. We don't know yet, Ryan. This could be the first one. This could be the only one. We have no idea. So feedback is welcome. And I suppose the purpose of this is to try and capture topical things that have maybe kicked off in the world or the fitness industry that we believe deserves a light shining on it.
Absolutely. We're calling it the Fit Dad's Hot Take.
Yeah. Oh, it was going to be extra hot Fit Dads, but that's a different search altogether. So let's not do that. Fit Dad's Hot Takes. Now,
we came across this on another podcast, didn't we? It was, is it called Luana?
Luana. Louisa Zisman and Anna Williamson. My wife's a big fan, and admittedly...
And they basically combined their two names.
Yeah.
Is that what they've done?
Yeah.
I was having to think about this, because what would ours be called? Brian. The Brad and Ryan podcast.
Yeah.
The Brian podcast.
The Brian. Yeah.
It doesn't quite...
It's a bit vanilla, isn't it?
Yeah.
Luana sounds very...
No one's tuned into the Brian podcast.
I mean, this one
we'll stick with Fit Dads.
Yeah, we'll stick with Fit Dads. So this one in particular is all about an amazing interview that Matt Morsia did with Spencer Mathews on the Untapped podcast.
Got some backlash.
And if you've not seen this clip, it's absolutely phenomenal, where Matt essentially, and this is legend from Gladiators, by the way, so you will be on your screens on a Saturday evening.
Yeah.
Matt Morsia has sparked a fierce debate after saying physical fitness should be treated with the same urgency as reading and maths in schools. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if we're allowed to play this clip, Ryan, but should we do it?
Well, of course we are. It's on another podcast, so yeah. It's out there in the open.
The next voices that you hear are going to be Matt Morsia actually on Spencer Mathews' podcast. So I'm going to click go.
I was watching it thinking, this is great.
I used to be a teacher, I've seen it. I would rather my child couldn't read but was healthy than was a great reader but weighed 20 stone. Do you know what I mean? That should be part of the curriculum. In the same way that if a child can't read or a child can't do basic addition, if a child cannot jog for a couple of minutes or cannot do 10 press-ups, they should be put in intervention to allow them to do that, because they're going to leave school healthier and they're going to live another 20, 30 years. Do you know what I mean? I think schools have failed our society.
We should change the physical education system.
I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, I do think that helps.
That's quite intense, sorry. Yeah.
Shout out to Spencer's laugh.
The poshest laugh of all time.
Lot to unpick there, ain't they?
What's your first thoughts on that?
I think, social media's done its job there, hasn't it? It's clipped up and it's taken away any nuance and compressed it into something that's gone mega viral. However, there is a lot to be said about maybe the role of schools and promoting physical activity. And just to unpick what Matt said there about there are interventions for kids who are struggling to read, kids who are struggling to do basic numeracy as well. And they're putting special measures essentially, which is and Matt, to his credit, he has got that background. I think he used to be a PE teacher. Yeah. I know he used to be a teacher in particular. So he's not speaking out of term here. I think he's well qualified and, actually qualified to talk about it. I just thought it was quite fascinating because, again, it's these teachers are taught in academia, right? So expecting them to maybe be educated in physical education and physical fitness as well, whether there's parameters, whether there's things we can escalate with that. We know that, some of the things that Matt said there about can they run for however long, can they do certain press-ups? I think that was quite a flippant remark from him as just like a key baseline. It doesn't have to be 10 press-ups. It doesn't have to be X, Y, and Z, but principles ring through, don't they?
Do you agree with him, though?
I don't believe schools are responsible for that. I think they can do more. But
Should they do more? Should there be some intervention? Like, if you go into a maths class and you're failing, you get put down a set, you have more lessons, there'll be certain things that are pushed on you to make you understand. You might even have to be given one-to-ones just to make sure that you understand the basic parameters of maths and what's included so that you pass. Essentially, it's all to be able to pass tests, right?
Yep.
You need to be able to know what's on the test, excuse me, and you need to be able to understand those theories so that you're able to kind of complete questions on a test. Should we have tests for physical fitness? And if you're not doing these if you're doing these mock tests and not getting the required levels, should there be intervention? Should the school step in and say, actually, you need to dedicate more of your time to this?
Right. I'm going to answer this like a politician. What are the schools benchmarked on? Grades. Are the grades going to be improved by making the kids more active? It's statistically been proven, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely is. So it's certainly something to look at. Certainly something to look at.
Excuse me. I think that he's absolutely on the money. I'll send my child to school one day. Obviously, I've got a 3-year-old, right? So she's only in nursery. Eventually, she'll go to primary school, and I'm expecting at school for them to teach her maths. If it was left for me and just me alone, forget my missus, who is actually a primary school teacher. If it was left to me alone to teach Harlow maths, I would struggle. Probably up until a certain age anyway. Especially when she goes to high school, I would struggle to teach her. I mean, I'm not amazing at maths, hands up, right? I'm expecting the school to take care of that. But when it comes to physical fitness, which is their health, their wellness, their mental health, their longevity of life, the school's only expect to take them so far.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a massive priority. And if they're not hitting the targets, the school doesn't do anything. Doesn't really do anything. Like, how many, it sounds harsh, right, but how many overweight kids were there in PE class? They were just flunking it because they didn't like it, they were overweight, and they, what was it called when you went to, when you didn't want to go to a sick note or something, you'd go and sit in a classroom, wouldn't you? Do you remember that?
I'm trying to think what we called it. What do we call it? Wagging it.
Yeah, it was wagging it, but really it was like, while PE class was going on for the whole school or the whole year, you go and sit in a classroom somewhere, and there's so many overweight kids who just didn't want to do it, with sick notes, copping out, coming up with injuries and all sorts.
Yeah.
There's no one pushing them to go and do it because they've got this way around the system of getting out of it, and no one really cares about that. If I go into my maths class with a note that says, "Sorry sir, I didn't get a good night's sleep last night, cognitively I'm not in a good place today, can I sit out of this one? I'd rather go and play football." Do you think I'm getting away with that?
But again, the schools aren't judged on physical fitness. They're judged on grades.
But they should be.
And it should be. I think, obviously, the school system is academic, right?
Yeah.
They're essentially preparing people for the workforce with basic, numeracy, literacy, to support them in the world. I back that fully. Schools do an amazing job when it comes to actually, preparing kids for life. However,
agreed. You
look at how schools have maybe not evolved as much as they should. All right, it's still a very similar system. Like, do you know why schools were like the school curriculum? Do you know why that was a thing? Why was it originally put in place?
Obviously, they've got to abide by some laws of teaching and learning.
I could be like, please at me if this is wrong, but I'm pretty certain the school system was still designed for conformity, in terms of we are going to put people through this curriculum to ensure that they slot seamlessly into society, to contribute towards. That's why maybe entrepreneurial thinking, that sort of stuff, isn't really promoted. Like, why don't we get taught tax at school? Why don't we get taught all the shit that we think, I could if I'd known that from a younger age, that would have been fantastic, because it disrupts the fabric of society. I don't see a disadvantage to encouraging more kids to be active. I really don't, because if it's going to benefit the academic results, fantastic. And I like shout out some comments as well. This is on Mumsnet, so hence I'm going to take these with a
lot of females in there.
Pinch of salt. Somebody's put, crazy idea, a healthy child who can read. Right?
Yeah, that for sure.
Yeah. Do you know what? Societally speaking, somebody said here, like, it's a cultural issue. It's a huge cultural issue. I think if you look at other countries, this is not even a discussion. It's common sense.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a body. If you've got a better functioning body, you're going to have a very better functioning brain because your brain's part of your body.
Absolutely.
I don't understand why this has caused so much outrage.
Yeah.
And I'm glad cancel culture is now slowing down because I don't want Matt to get cancelled. Matt's amazing at what he does. He's absolutely unbelievable. And it's just how many grown adults, Ryan, do we work with who loathed PE at school?
Many. I'd say, yeah, if you had to put a number on it, maybe like at least 50% of the people that come to me have had bad experiences in school with sports, with PE, not feeling like they were ever active as a kid. It wasn't pushed on them, and they get to a point where they have to come to someone like us and they say, I've never done this before, I'm so nervous around it.
And imagine if we had a better foundation from as a young child, if you have a better relationship with exercise and you are more literate with exercise. I don't know if that sentence works. But if you are more proficient in exercise, how much better is your relationship going to be? I still speak to people now, my lovely wife included, who think she's rubbish at maths.
Yeah.
Because she didn't get a C in a GCSE. Sorry to out Amy there. But she's not. She's fantastic at it. But the way that her brain works, it has to be practical. It has to be like, well, if I need to work out household bills, if I need to do X, Y, and Z for budgeting, for work, great. She can do it because she sees the practicality of it.
Yeah.
And people will hold on to them beliefs. And the cascade effect, mate, of setting better foundations for kids' relationship with exercise is beyond what I can even communicate.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's not only the pressure on the schools to do this as well. It's not all down to the schools to push physical health. We do sometimes need the parents as well to pull their weight on it. But if you've got a dad, right, and he's really good at maths, he's going to be really able to help his kids out when it comes to talking about maths and educate his sons and daughters on maths, and that's going to be really good. But how's he ever then going to educate his kids on fitness if he doesn't feel comfortable doing that? That's then down to the schools. If you've got a dad who's great, kids are flying in maths class, flying in literacy, but he just doesn't feel confident enough to teach his kids about fitness and has never been into sports himself, always been more academic, his kids are slowly going down the same path as him because he doesn't feel confident enough. We're in a great position. We know about training, we understand it, we know how to coach our kids and get them involved in sports, and we'll definitely push that for sure. We'll expose them to that world. A lot of parents just don't feel comfortable doing that, unfortunately. So I think it's one of those things where the schools then have to step in and go, right, we are going to help you and your child get fit and healthy and get them into sports. Not enough is put on that, and I think schools have to take more responsibility for that for sure.
The hard bit is, right, if it's a bit of a cliche answer to a very cliche question, this, but if someone says, what do you want for your kids when they're older? Most people will say health and happiness.
Yeah.
All right? If someone has a better relationship with exercise and with academia, odds are they're going to be healthier. All right, nailed on.
You're absolutely right, actually.
They're probably going to be happier because obviously they probably feel a bit. I put money on this actually. More children will feel happier in themselves and the way that they see themselves and the way that they can navigate the world because they have the skills, they have the ability, and they have the health to go and chase things for a long period of time. And I just think health and happiness, man. Like, how do we do that?
Spot on. No parents going, when someone asks them, what do you want for your kids when they go older? I want them to be really good at algebra and I want them to be able to read Charles Dickens. No, they go, I want them to be healthy and happy. Healthy and happy. And we're preaching this. You go to some really overweight, an overweight family and ask them what they want for their kids. They'll say the same thing. I want them to be healthy and happy. How are you making them healthy? Why are you not doing more? Why is the school not doing more? Why, if this is such a big priority of parents, this word healthy, why are we not having tests around physical education? I'm so on the side of Matt here. I think it should be pushed, and I'm hoping that something like this sparks a debate. Yeah, let's get talking about this. People aren't going to be happy. Fine. Look, I wasn't happy when I didn't get the grades I wanted in maths, but it was pushed on me. I would have got a lot worse if it wasn't for schools pushing it on me. There's no doubt about that. Let's have this started now in this conversation around, can we get kids starting in PE with a bit of testing? What kind of test? In fact, let's open this discussion, me and you. What kind of tests would you have if you had to say you were talking high schoolers, year 7s? What should be some parameters for some testing?
At the risk of going around the houses to answer this question, I had a great chat with Alex at Station. I briefly told the story before we started recording. But I was doing some deadlifts and Alex came up to me and he says, "Oh, you're missing rest at plates." And I responded to Alex with, "Do you want to go for a run?" And so what I'm saying is there's different parameters, even in fitness.
Yeah.
Even in fitness, in terms of what determines success. And there's an old quote which is, if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will spend its entire life thinking it's stupid.
True.
So I believe that there might be some parameters there. There might be some flexibility, some cardio tests, some strength tests. Cool.
Yeah.
If you put all them 3 together, how rare is it for someone to be a unicorn and to be fantastic at all 3? Very hard. But if you can actually identify, like, do you know what? Yeah, you are a bit more strength focused. All right.
But there should be some basic parameters. You could say exactly the same thing about maths. You're going to get a guy's great at algebra. Pythagoras theory is not so good. But we're not saying you don't do Pythagoras theory. You still learn about it. You still have some questions on it. But you're going to know what you need to know about that. Percentages and equations, there might be a completely different, you know, there's separate questions for that. We need to have, let's go for all the main ones. Let's have fitness tests. Let's have strength tests. Basic stuff. How long can you hang from that bar from? How long can you, because if you can't hold it for more than 30 seconds, we're going to have to do some work on it. Can you run a mile? If you can't run a mile, there's some issues there. We're going to have a little sit down and try and get you, you know. If you, I don't know, it's difficult when it comes to food and nutrition. That's a completely separate thing. But I think from the fitness side of things, we can definitely expose kids to a certain standard and things that they need to, because I think kids' standards themselves is low. My standard for my own maths when I was in high school, my own standard for maths was terrible. I actually got a maths tutor, which is one of the best things I ever did, actually.
Okay.
I always talk about this. I went to a place called Kit McGrath. Remember Kit McGrath?
Kit McGrath?
Yeah, it's Kit McGrath. I'm not sure if it was just in Manchester or what, but I think it was nationwide. There was a chain, it was a franchise of tutoring schools, and it was called Kit McGrath, and it used to be in Bury Town Centre. I used to go there, and I used to go and do extra maths there. And when I was in class, and I had 20, 25 kids in the class, didn't learn a thing. Just too many distractions for me. When I sat down, I had a little computer in front of me, and I got given some questions, and the guy came over, this is exactly how you do it. I went to lay it out, write it down, go on the computer, fill out a few things, picked it up like that. It was one of the best things I think my parents ever did for me in terms of getting my grades better.
That extra tuition, essentially.
It helped me so much. I can't even tell you. Those Kit McGrath lessons, and there was about 8 kids, all with little computers in front of them in this little room, and I used to go in there, very, very morbid and silent, and quite, tough after a full day at school. You got to go there and do an hour. But it helped me no end. It was one of the best things I think my parents did for me for getting my grades better in maths.
I've realised I've skirted around your question, so I'm going to come back to that about what would my fitness test look like, especially for kids in schools. I just want to highlight the benefit of actually failing. That's why I love sport so much, because you can micro fail at sport. You can't micro fail an exam. You can do a mock exam, but it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. Whereas if you have someone who is failing reps, failing a grip hang test, you're getting someone used to these little micro failures. It makes them a little bit more resilient. So, I mean, if you're up for doing it, mate, should we map it out in front of us now? What is the testing system for, let's say, primary schools?
Yeah.
All right. There could be a little run in there. Could be a run around the park. Yeah. All right. Could be 400 meters. Could be 800 meters. Yeah. Who knows? Let's time it. Everyone gets the same finish, the same same start line, same finish line. Yeah. I think anything body weight is going to be awesome. That relative strength is going to be wicked.
I think, what's great? Box squats.
Yeah.
Set a box. Yeah. And the box has to be just below knee height. And you have to be able to do 50 squats on and off the box. If you can complete it, great. If you can't, there's some real issues.
Or even a time trial. If it's just you've got 1 minute to do as many press-ups and sit-ups as you can. As simple as that is.
Yeah.
You can say, right, last time you got this, do you think you can beat it? Yeah. Absolutely. Some stuff they can do at home. Do you know what I mean? Like dead hang tests. You ever done a stalk test before?
A stalk test?
Stalk test.
No.
See this? It's a great one for balance. So you essentially put hands on your hips, you stand like a stalk, so you got on one leg, and you put the instep of one foot on your thigh.
Oh, okay.
If somebody can do that and they can hold it for a certain period of time, you get them to go up onto their toes. Right, like top level stuff.
Right.
That's very, very hard to do. Very, very hard.
Good bit of balance testing.
Kids love that.
Yeah,
balance
yeah.
testing, strength testing, fitness testing. I think you've covered a lot of bases there for kids, and it's fun, man. You know, it doesn't need much space. Do you know what I mean?
What's the least fun thing that school does to test your fitness? The bleep test.
Bleep test.
You know what I mean?
Can we make the bleep test more fun?
Can we make it more fun? Can we do it on a cross country? Just get round and how fast can you do a mile? If it's under a certain threshold, we've got some issues, kind of thing. It obviously changes for every age range. You know, maybe it's just a test you do once a year, or do it like multiple, maybe twice a year. You do these tests. You do it once at the start, once 6 months halfway, and if you're still failing, maybe you do one at the end. And the kids who are not doing great on it do an extra class a week just on that.
Sometimes as well, the kids need to inspire the parents. You know,
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I really do believe that.
Yeah, 100%.
If parents have again those limiting beliefs, I was always last picked.
Yeah.
In PE, I hated PE at school. If that's your philosophy as a parent, that will transcend into your child.
Yeah.
So where if they're coming home and they're encouraging their family from the ground up, like if ever Ted wants to play,
How proud of your kid would you be as well if they were good at something that you weren't good at?
Yeah.
Like what was I? I mean, what was I not good at? I wasn't really good at maths. I've said this, right? I take extra tutoring for it. If she came home and she was really good at maths, I'd feel so proud. I'm like, oh, she's not like me. Like she's trumping the trend. She didn't get the crap maths genes. She's doing good in maths. That would make me really proud. It made me proud for her to be good at something that I wasn't good at. So I think maybe they're the maybe we need to write this in, mate. Do you know what I mean? Let's get a petition going. The Fit Dad's school test.
Yeah, there we go.
Who knows?
What I'm hoping to do, mate, is if I can play this clip from Matt just one more time, I might pause it at certain points because I'm keen to try and address everything he says.
Okay, cool.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely fine.
I would rather my child couldn't read but was healthy than was a great reader but weighed 20 stone. Do you know what I mean?
So that's quite a
provocative
immediately. All right, if you go in hard with someone whose beliefs are pretty set in stone, that's a hard thing to
I'd
get.
rather my kid couldn't read but wasn't 20 stone. That's I mean, that's, would you agree with that? If you had an option right now, you've got Ted, he's 20 stone and he's great and he can read, he's got good at maths, or you've got Ted who's slimmer, healthier, really good at fitness, but he's not as good at reading. What would you choose? Straight away. You're choosing one right now.
I would personally choose health. I always would.
I would.
Because I know tons of smart people who don't have their health.
I would.
And
I would. Do you know what? It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? To take a group of parents and to use some AI generator, take their kid and show them their kid at like, maybe take their kids who are like, 4, 5, 6, right? And you show them their kid at 15 and they're horrendously overweight, like really unhealthy looking, but they've got great grades, and you can see, and then they're holding the grades like it's at 20 fucking stone, and they've got all the grades, A stars, and then you show the other kid who's got, let's say slightly lesser grades, but they're in great physical shape. If you'd say to that parent, you've got 2 paths that your kid can go on right now, which one would you choose? How many do you think would choose the A stars at 20 stone? How many do you think would choose the kind of slightly lesser grades but great physical health? Be interesting, that, wouldn't it? I think the overwhelming majority will probably say, I want a healthy kid. I want him to live a bit longer and be healthy and happy rather than getting all the A-star grades. And if that is the case, and that is what we do, and when this is a test we should fucking run, why are we not prioritising that in schools?
Yeah.
That's the line over the whole thing. If that is what parents really want, and the parents are paying for this, and the parents are funding these schools, and we're all paying for our tax monies to send these kids to state schools, why are we not then getting a say on what happens with our kids' physical education?
I love seeing an animated R5. Makes me happy. You were very animated. At one point, you were there.
When I'm giving it the Hitler sign like this, when the arms are flying like this, Elon Musk Hitler style, you know I'm fucking into it. Do you know what I mean? I'm passionate about it. But I am. I couldn't. It's provocative, that statement from Matt Morsia. It really is. But I totally agree. I would not want Harlow to be 20 stone with A stars. I'd rather she go all B's and she was healthy. I would 100% take that every day of the week.
The irony is, it probably wouldn't happen. If someone was physically active and well, they probably wouldn't be failing in
Agreed.
school.
And we're also, as well, in this weird world, and it comes down to this comment, in this stupid world we live in, we're thinking we have to have one or the other. We don't. We can have it all. Because, yes, some kids aren't going to get both, but we can really strive for both. And we can do that. We can set up the curriculum better on a weekly basis for kids where they can be educated well, they can get good grades, and they can be kept accountable in their health and fitness. Schools need to push this more. We can do both. Why aren't we?
Carry on playing rest of the clip for now.
Yes.
I mean, that should be part of the curriculum. In the same way that if a child can't read or a child can't do basic addition, if a child cannot jog for a couple of minutes or cannot do 10 press-ups, they should be put in intervention to allow them to do that.
And again, I think we've covered that quite a bit about what would determine an intervention.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He doesn't specify exactly what the jog is. He just says a bit of a jog. Yeah. And I think a kilometre, a mile, like something around that distance, should be doable for kids.
100%.
I'm not saying 10 press-ups. I mean, 10 press-ups is pretty tough, to be fair, isn't it, like, for a lot? But there's some better physical tests that can be done. You could get a kid who's quite overweight and is quite physically active, but just can't do the press-ups. So that's different parameters. If you had I think the best way to do it would have 10 tests, and out of those 10 tests, you have to complete at least 7 of them. 70% of those you have to pass. If 3 of them you're not so good at, that's fine. We're all not good at things. I'm not amazing at squats, mate. I'll be honest with you. My strength's never been good. Any strength I've had to work for. But I'm good at fitness stuff. I'm good at the other things. There's got to be a set of 10 tests. I think 70% of them you've got to pass.
Leave school healthier, and they're going to live another 20, 30 years. Do you know what I mean? I think schools have failed our society. We should change the...
Have schools failed society?
I mean, it's a very open-ended question, that. Yeah. I mean, no, definitely not. Schools are great. I love schools. I think schools do fantastic work. But could they do better in physical education? Yes. Are they failing on physical education? No, because people are going to get... I mean, there's so many kids that get into sports, and there's so many kids that have awesome physical endeavours in in schools. There's no doubt about that. But could we do better? Are there kids getting left behind? Are there an overwhelming amount of kids getting left behind and not being held to accountable with their fitness? And I'm not just talking about kids who are overweight. There's a lot of kids who are in shape. I'm like the gamers and the geeks, for example. Do you know what I mean? Those people who, they may be... I just put my foot in it there. Those guys, the gamers and geeks, some of them, they're not physically inclined. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to go and push themselves, but maybe we need to push them a little bit harder and have them. And just because they don't physically look overweight doesn't mean they're not, or they are healthy. Yeah. Sometimes those people who are looking a little bit pale and pasty need a little bit of a kick up the arse.
The rise of the jacked nerd.
Maybe that's the campaign. We need more jacked nerds. That's what we need.
I think that the hard bit to say to people at this point is teachers do a lot. All right. Teachers have a lot on their plate.
For sure.
So people who are in charge of these trusts and the curriculums and all this science that we can bring forward to say movement improves cognition. If you have better cognition and you have improved concentration levels and you ensure, especially the schooling system for boys as well, this is a podcast topic on its own, so I'm not going to dive into it. But the schooling system really, really fails young boys. Really fails young boys. And it's statistically, it's not good.
Yeah.
All right. Most people who get expelled from school are boys. Most people who fail in the GCSEs are boys. Something's got to change. Something has to change.
Yeah, I agree. Are you going to continue playing the clip, or has that come to an end?
Unless you want to hear Spencer's posh laugh again.
No.
Yeah, I mean, mate, whether if people have enjoyed listening to this. Like,
Yeah,
let
let's
us
know your thoughts on the Fit Dad's hot take. We want to maybe pick out more of this stuff online and do quick kind of fire episodes around it. But this was definitely a tasty one. One that as soon as you brought it to the table, I was like, oh, I've got some thoughts around this.
Yeah.
And, I am opinionated because I am a parent now.
Yeah.
And my kid's going to be going to school, and I want to see more emphasis put on this. Not because I think my kid might miss out. I know that from a home perspective, my missus is a teacher, primary school teacher, and I'm a coach, PT coach, right? Do you know what I mean? I know education around fitness and training. She's set up pretty well, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? But I do worry about other people.
Yeah.
I do worry about what kind of her friends are going to be like at school. I do worry about my friends and when they have kids. And if they're not physically inclined, what their kid's going to be like. So, yeah, there's a worry.
I believe the secret is in gamifying things.
Yeah,
I really
making
do.
it fun.
I really do.
Making
You look
it
at how many
fun.
kids are obsessed with video games.
Yeah.
It's a game. It's
Yeah.
a game. You
Yeah.
can very, very easily make fitness a game. And you speak to any child coach, right? Any coach who coaches children, everything's a game.
Yeah.
We can learn a lot from
Do we
that.
create an app around it? The physical education app for kids? I mean, it's tricky. Is it a slippery slope? Is it going to start creating some... If you start going down the area of streaks and things like that, is it going to push kids into unhealthy behaviours around education? Maybe we don't need to do that. Maybe we just say, look, this is the standard. Can you go and hit it?
Yeah.
And then filtering them into sports, because, again, sports are so good. It's disguised exercise. That's why even a lot of the guys I coach go and play five-a-side. They don't particularly like training. They come to me because they're not a fan of, training. They pay someone to kind of push them through a session and write programs for them. But when it's football, and it's fun, and it's disguised, even as adults, we prefer it more. So,
100%.
Yeah, more filtering into sports, I think, as well.
Definitely. If anyone sees any topics as well that you'd like us, if you see any hot topics that you think,
absolutely,
send them over. Because this is what
I want to see Ryan throwing his arms around to that topic.
Yeah. If you want to see more animated R5, give us a shout.
Yeah, that's it. Cool, guys. Thank you for listening. As always, we'll see you on next episode.
See you soon.
Awesome.
Cheers, man.
Top man.